Hey guys, it's Girl Got Game, and welcome back to Changeling, where we are here to do Elliot's route, which I'm very excited about because he seems very sweet, and he's also the first of our two vampire boyos, so very, very excited indeed for that, because vampires are my personal favorite of the supernatural beings. So, there you go. Anyway, we are in the common route right now. And we did see this when I first started this series, but I wanted to re-experience taking the bags to the bins out front because there's some great Elliot interactions there. So we'll begin with that, and then we'll do quite a bit of skipping, so we'll catch up to where we need to catch up soon enough. I hope you know that this is cruel and unusual punishment.
It's not punishment, just fulfilling obligations.
Cruel! I barely got the last word in before the door slammed shut. She was big about obligations and responsibilities, but considering that Dad was much worse, I probably shouldn't complain. I headed down the short drive to where the jumbled bins were sitting just behind the mailboxes. It was a gorgeous, crisp fall morning, chilly but invigorating. And it was a real shame I was going to spend it cleaning and unpacking when I could be contacting Allie to hang out. We hadn't seen each other in 5 years, so I was really looking forward to catching up. I just hoped I'd at least have time to call her later in the day. There he is. I was in the middle of dropping the bags into the green bin when a loud crash, followed by a few desperate curses, came from just over the wooden fence. More crashes, and what sounded like scattering cans and plastic bottles ensued. We hadn't met the neighbors yet, so I wasn't sure I wanted to go poking my nose over the fence, but it sounded like someone was having some major issues over there.
Oh, no!
There was the sound of scattering trash again. I tossed the bags in the bin and slammed the lid shut before taking a peek around the side of the fence. There was a boy about my age riding several garbage bins and hastily picking up scattered paper and plastics before shoving them in a blue container. Need a hand?
Whoa!
I'd clearly startled him. In a rather spectacular display, he jumped nearly a foot in the air and somehow ended up on his butt on the ground. He stared up at me with pale green eyes. Okay, weird eyes. And do I detect some fangs in that open mouth? He jumped to his feet, snatching a plastic bottle off the grass as he did so.
No, I got it. Just gotta pick everything up.
He dropped the bottle into the recycling bin, giving me an embarrassed smile.
They sort of attacked when I was bringing the trash out.
Fair enough. I've waged epic battle with many a trash bin myself.
They're a terrible enemy, to be sure.
Oh yes, especially the blue ones. Have to watch out for those.
They get me every time.
We both laughed awkwardly.
So, you're one of the new neighbors?
Guilty as charged. I'm not quite charitable enough to take the trash out for complete strangers on a Saturday morning.
Nice.
He gave me a quick look up and down, then immediately turned red again and rubbed the back of his neck as he bent to pick up more of the scattered trash. He's like, cute new next-door neighbor, yes.
I mean, you know, it's nice to have someone my age move in instead of just weird old people or something.
Okay, so he seemed nice. Purple hair was cool. I didn't mind the piercings either. I grinned slightly. Hi. Yeah, no weird old people over here.
Oh, by the way, I'm Elliot.
I'm Nora.
Cool. Nora. I will totally remember that. Nora.
He murmured my name to himself a few times as if trying to memorize it.
So,
Awkward silence descended. Introductions were always so weird.
Where are you guys moving from?
Oh, just out of state. We used to live here a few years ago and just came back because my grandfather's sick.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, he's a bit better than he was, so it's okay. But we just wanted to be closer to them because of it.
Makes sense.
He gave me a sidelong look.
So, starting school here soon then? I mean, you're still in high school, right?
For another year. I'm a senior.
Cool. Same here.
My brother's a senior too.
Oh, so you're like twins or something?
Yeah. Lucky for you, I'm the nice one, though.
So your brother's the evil one?
Sadly, yes. Spencer is evil.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, it's not cool that your brother is evil, but it's cool that I lucked out and met the good twin. I have a stepsister. She's also kind of evil.
Ooh, an evil stepsister. That's pretty classic.
Between you and me, we should probably make sure they never meet. The world would definitely be in peril.
I bent down behind one of the bins to pick up some of the things he hadn't grabbed yet, smiling slightly.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
I don't mind. I liked him. He had a cute smile.
Hey, Mozzie!
I heard the voice and decided to pop my head up and see who was talking. Bad idea. And cue the werewolf.
Watch out!
I barely even saw the football coming before it bounced off my head. Holy... what? I was pretty sure I actually saw stars. My legs buckled and I immediately felt Elliot grab me around the waist to keep me standing. I forgot that you caught her. Very gallant of you. Good reflexes, too.
Whoa! Oh god, are you okay?
His voice was right next to my ear. I could feel his breath ghosting across my cheek. Rapid footsteps sounded across my yard.
I am so sorry. I didn't realize there was anyone else over here.
No, it's okay. I've always wondered what it would be like to have my brain knocked loose. It's quite freeing. That's quite an arm you have. The new guy laughed awkwardly.
I am so sorry. Are you okay? Should we help you inside?
It wasn't exactly terrible being held by Elliot, but I decided I should probably pull away and try to stand on my own. I shook my head, trying to rid myself of the blurred vision. No, I'm good. Awkward silence descended before Elliot laughed nervously.
That was kind of amazing.
I laughed, then winced and reached up to touch the bump forming on my head. Ow.
Let me look.
I turned toward him and let him examine my forehead while I stared at his strange eyes. They were such an odd shade of green. I wondered if they were contacts. I couldn't imagine anyone having eyes that color naturally. I wonder what eye color everyone sees him having. Like, do they see it that green, or is it like a darker green?
Well, you have a bump.
Is that the official diagnosis, doctor?
You should go put some ice on it. Man, I am so sorry. I feel terrible.
It's fine, really. Blame it on my utterly bad timing if you want.
I'm Danny, by the way. King of terrible first impressions.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. And, by the way, Mozzie?
Aw. Dumb nickname. I blame my stepsister. Just ignore it. What are you even doing up this early? I don't usually see you before noon if I don't come over and drag you out of bed. Which is what I was about to do, by the way.
A night owl?
You could say that.
Or a night bat, in this case. He rubbed the back of his neck again. Cute. He seemed to do that a lot when he was embarrassed. I'm not much of a morning person either.
Right? Mornings suck. Too bright, too early. I like mornings.
The only good thing about mornings is coffee. Nora! Can you stop flirting and get back in here to carry the rest of the crap out back? I flinched at the sound of Spencer's voice and shot a glare at the house just in time to see his auburn curls vanish back inside. Miss you too, buddy.
The evil twin?
Yes, unfortunately. We're still unpacking, so I should head back in. It was nice to meet you both.
Hey, where are you going to school? We're both at Stone Circle Academy. Maybe we'll see you there?
That's right! We'll be starting on Monday, so I'll definitely see you there.
Nice. Don't forget to put ice on that.
I waved at them both and headed back inside. I glanced back once and saw Danny elbow Elliot and say something to him. Elliot turned red and shoved Danny's shoulder. He caught me watching and waved sheepishly. I waved back and went inside laughing. Mom made a bit of a fuss over the bump on my head and insisted on an ice pack while I ate breakfast. But by the time I finished, she was already dictating the list of chores I had to take care of when I was done. It was going to be a long, long day. Okay. Excellent, so we can start skipping again. I'm gonna ignore you. I don't want to argue yet. And I'll be snippy with you, Kara. Alright. Yeah, I'm very interested to see the other side of the Danny-Elliot friendship this time around. Like, so far, Danny's, like, teasing him, like, oh, flirting with the new girl, eh? Alright, this time we're gonna try talking to Elliot. Aw, he's so tired. Elliot was definitely struggling to stay awake. His head tipped forward, and he suddenly jerked it back up, sitting up straighter. The rest of the group laughed and prodded him. He said something back at them and looked around as he let out another tongue-curling yawn. Amused, I managed to catch his eye and give him a tiny wave from the doorway. His face brightened significantly. The sleepiness suddenly vanished as he waved back enthusiastically. It definitely gave me a bit of a boost to have someone other than Allie look pleased to see me. Elliot motioned me over to their group, but I'd barely taken one step before Allie started pulling me toward the front of the room. Come on, I'll introduce you really fast. Having been commandeered, I shot Elliot an apologetic smile. He waved again and looked a little forlorn as I was taken away to talk to Mrs. Roberts. I mouthed sorry to him and hoped we'd be able to catch up later. It's funny, Danny had like an amused smile on his face, but Elliot is just like, oh man. Okay, don't want to be on Corbin's route, so we're just gonna leave that alone. Okay, let's actually go back a bit for this one, because it's more one-on-one. Let's see. I stood quietly for a moment, head leaning against the side as I geared myself up for the tense ride home.
Hey, Nora.
I turned hesitantly at the sound of my name, but sighed in relief when it was only Elliot, someone I doubted was going to pick a fight or interrogate me. I gave him a tired smile.
Whoa, you okay? You look, kind of pale. Are you feeling sick?
I'm fine.
You sure? You're looking kind of anemic.
I'm not anemic, just tired. It was a long day.
Yeah, I heard... a lot of people were talking about you and your brother all day.
Yeah, tell me about it. I slammed my locker door and hefted my book bag to my shoulder.
I also saw what happened at lunch.
Yeah.
About that.
It's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not mad at anyone over that.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't a big deal.
Okay. Just... don't take it personally, okay? Everyone here has their stories. Know what I mean?
I suppose I should know that better than anyone.
And don't worry about people talking about you. I mean, they'll stop. Soon. Probably.
Encouraging. Well, I couldn't complain. He was trying to cheer me up, and that was sweet. I'm sure they will. I rubbed my head and gave him another exhausted smile. I should go. The evil twin is probably already waiting impatiently for me.
Okay. I have a club meeting I need to get to. I really hope you feel better.
I think I've always done this one, right? Yes, I have. He was so earnest that I managed a genuine smile this time. I'll be fine. Really. But thanks for worrying about me. I really do appreciate it.
No problem.
Oh, he reached up to brush my hair away from my face, peering closely at me. You go in for the hairbrush and like,
Yo, you should really eat some liver.
well, I mean, he was a vampire, so he's gonna be very concerned about, like, her blood count. Oh, this is great. I hope this is just a sign of things to come.
Normally I wouldn't say this, but go eat some liver or something. You really do look super pale.
I'm really not anemic, but, thanks for the concern. I just have a headache, I promise.
Okay, well, just take care of yourself, okay?
I will. He ran off down the hall, headed for the stairwell. I watched him go, shaking my head slightly. Weirdo, stop worrying so much about my blood. Hey! Alright, well, that ought to do it for right now. I'm not crying. Blah. I'm going to text my mom, because I love when Dad comes, picks me up, and gets me ice cream. And that's all I really need to know. I'll defend you this time, I guess. Alright. I'll do this one where I'm not, like, freaking out quite so much. Hello, I'm the Spriggan under the bridge. I wonder which one I should go for. Probably this one. I decided to go with infected vampires. No real reason, it just sounded interesting. I was fairly certain I wasn't a vampire, but they were pretty classic, and I wasn't ready to try to look into anything more intense than that just yet. It was hard to make educated choices when I was so new to all of this. I expected Velos to direct me to the stack somewhere and let me find my own reading material. Instead, he let out an ear-piercing whistle, which I learned a few minutes later is apparently how one summons books in a magic library. Just a second, I need to drink some water real quick. Some slight irritation. Okay, should be good. It came whooshing out from between the bookshelves, straight into his outstretched hand. It was both slightly eerie and a little cool. He handed it over to me, and I took it carefully, staring down at the leather-bound cover. Thanks. He'd already turned back to whatever he had been doing, so Allie led me to one of the nearby tables. Listen, I'm going to go contact the agency about that thing you saw earlier, but you're looking pretty pale there. I don't want to leave you here alone. I'll send someone to stay with you. So I get a babysitter? I really didn't want one, but I didn't want to be left alone in here either. And Velos didn't seem like much of a conversationalist. Not a babysitter. Just company. I shouldn't be gone too long. Fine. Just whatever you do, please don't send Mark. Not yet, anyway. I know I'm reading about vampires, but I don't want Mark, okay? I can't handle his crabbiness right now. No, Mark. Got it. She shot me a grin and left through the same door where we'd come in. I flopped into a chair and set the book in front of me, just staring at the cover. I was trying so hard to not think about how weird this all was. It was kind of hard to avoid, though. I was sitting in a magic library run by a wizard, And I was reading about vampires. It was so weird. I just need to focus on the task at hand. If I really let myself think about all the things happening, I was just going to freak out again. And I didn't want to repeat it yesterday afternoon. I flipped the book open and leaned forward, eyeing the text. Infected vampires are vampires that were once human. Well, this already sounds like a completely riveting topic. Vampires infect humans by injecting a supernatural venom into their bloodstream at the time of biting them. This venom behaves similar to a virus, causing a series of physiological changes in the victim. Though depicted as crazed predators in fiction, most infected vampires actually have far less difficulty controlling their bloodlust than natural vampires. Okay, that's interesting. They usually attribute this to the fact that, as humans, they were expected to practice self-control in nearly all aspects of their lives. It's quite easy for them to carry this over into their new lives as vampires as well. Okay. Well, that was good news, I supposed. No crazed predators running around wanting to eat everyone. Then again, it did say most. Though they experience some of the natural vulnerabilities of vampires, such as weakness to sunlight to a much lesser degree, infected vampires are also not gifted with the same level of enhancement to their senses and physical capabilities. The legendary regenerative abilities of vampires also manifest in a much weaker form. That said, even infected vampires are far superior to the average human being in almost all ways, including lifespan. Okay. Huh. Interesting. So I guess they were like watered down regular vampires? Still got the benefit of immortality, though. That was a nice perk. I looked up thoughtfully and realized a familiar figure was standing across the table from me. Oh, Elliot! I wasn't sure how long he'd been standing there, but when I noticed him, he gave me the usual sheepish grin and rubbed the back of his neck.
Hey there. Sorry to disturb you. You looked pretty intent on your studies there.
Nah, it's fine. Have a seat. I was just reading about vampires. Infected ones. He looked startled. How did you know about me?
Any reason why you picked that topic in particular?
I don't know, really. No reason. I guess it felt like they'd probably be pretty commonplace. It seemed like a good starting point. He laughed awkwardly and rubbed the back of his neck.
Yeah. It would be pretty weird if you actually already knew one, right?
From the little surreptitious looks he was giving me, I had a sinking feeling I did already know one. Let me guess. You? He laughed again.
How'd you know?
Because you were being super obvious about it, you dork. He was really lucky that I liked his hair. Aw, come on, Nora, don't be like that. Lucky guess. Still, though, he was infected. That meant sometime in the past he was bitten by a vampire. I wondered what that had been like. I gave him a sidelong look. So, is it okay to ask, how it happened? Is it private or something? I literally had no idea about etiquette in the situation. Why didn't they teach you impolite questions to ask a vampire? Someone needed to make a paranormal handbook for dummies.
Nah, it's fine. It happened nearly 2 years ago. Honestly, it's not really an exciting story. I was just out late at a skate park with some friends, and I was walking home alone after dark. I was attacked. By a mugger, I thought, but it wasn't a mugger. It actually took quite a while to figure out exactly what had happened to me.
Oh. Really? I mean, the cravings and stuff didn't give it away? He scratched his cheek and gave me that same grin.
Well, I mean, I had cravings, yeah. But I didn't know for what. Blood wasn't exactly my go-to food for cravings, so I didn't really realize that's what I wanted. I just always kind of figured I wanted pizza or something. I started being sensitive to sun, but we thought there was some other medical cause. I was losing weight, and we didn't know why. I started sleeping at weird times. We kind of thought I was sick or something, but didn't exactly expect vampirism.
It was really hard not to laugh. I mean, it was kind of serious, but at the same time... Really? I mean, he was kind of dense, wasn't he? How'd you finally figure it out?
Well, it's kind of embarrassing, but... I guess I started sleepwalking because of the blood cravings. I ended up in my stepsister's room trying to bite her.
Oh, well that's embarrassing. Oh dear. Well, at least he can kind of relate to Nora's sleepwalking later. I wonder if she will be like, well, maybe I have like a vampirism problem, so I'm also sleepwalking with no clear direction. You bit your stepsister? Elliot held up his hands frantically.
No! No. I mean, I guess I tried to. But she basically woke up, punched me in the face, and gave me a bloody nose. But that's how we noticed the fangs, and everything fell into place from there.
So your family knows you're a vampire?
Oh yeah, I mean, it would have been really hard to keep that a secret after everything that happened.
And they're fine with it? Elliot seemed to give this a lot of thought before he answered.
Well, I guess they find it kind of annoying. I mean, we have to order blood capsules every month, and I kind of tend to stay up late at night. And discovering my shapeshifting abilities was... awkward.
You can shapeshift too? So cool.
But my stepdad put in a lot of time and research to figure out how best to handle it. That's actually why we ended up moving to Pine Hollow. He heard a rumor there was a strong paranormal community here, and thought it would be good for me to be around other people like me.
Oh man, that was super weird. His family must be insanely chill. Mine would freak out if I even hinted I wasn't a normal human being. That is totally crazy. I mean, in a cool way. He smiled hesitantly.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that kind of thing going over well with my family. Besides, being a vampire... that means you're immortal and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I'll keep aging into my 20s at least, since I'm just an infected. Mark probably only has another year before he stops aging.
Mark is a vampire?
Yeah, natural though, not like me.
Actually, it kind of made sense. Did have that whole Edward Cullen thing going on. That must be why he radiated a superiority complex. It seemed like a very vampire-y kind of attitude to have. So is he the one that... I motioned toward my neck.
No, definitely not. I mean, it would be weird if it was a guy, right?
Would it? I guess so? Would it? Did gender matter when vampires bit people? Surely everyone's blood tasted the same. Have you ever, bitten someone?
Nah, it was already illegal by the time I was infected. I mean, if someone's willing.
Heyo.
But,
I didn't know, actually. And he sounded more than a little disappointed by not having bitten someone before. Well, we'll just have to see how the route goes, I guess. And don't you give me that hopeful look. You are not biting me, Mr. Vampire. Oh, come on, Nora, don't be such a killjoy.
So hey, I was wondering if, I could, you know...
Oh my god, is he actually going to ask about that?
I was wondering if I could have your number.
Aw, it's so much more wholesome than you were worried about. What?
I mean, those of us in the club kinda share numbers, and besides, I don't sleep much, so... If you ever need to talk late at night or something, you can always text me. If you want.
Oh! Yeah, sure. Thank goodness.
Really?
Why did he seem so surprised that I said yes? You're kind of intimidating. Sure, I'll probably need to get everyone else's too at some point.
Oh, yeah. Everyone else.
I pulled out my phone and handed it over so he could put in his contact details. Hey, so can I ask you something else? I've kind of been wondering it for a while now.
Huh? Sure.
What exactly is a mozzie? Ah, here we go.
Ugh, don't ask about that. Please don't ask.
Okay.
It's just kind of embarrassing.
Right. So... I'd be asking Allie about that later for sure. Poor Elliot.
There, I put in my number.
He handed his phone over to me with the contact screen up. I quickly put in my details.
So, what kind of cryptic are you? I kind of guessed you weren't a normal human, but I wasn't sure.
I stopped and looked up at him, surprised. You guessed? When?
Well, I mean, when we first met, I had kind of wondered about it, but it's not really something you can just ask someone.
But how did you know?
Well, vampires have a really good sense of smell.
I blinked at him in confusion. You... smelled me.
It's not like I go around smelling people. It's just, I can't turn off my sense of smell.
That was true, I guess. And that explanation did make it seem a heck of a lot less weird. But still. So I smell different than a normal human?
Your blood smells a little different, yeah. It's kind of hard to describe.
Different? How?
Well, I guess if normal humans are like lasagna, then you'd be chicken parmigiana. I mean, it's kind of similar, but not quite the same. What? My dad's Italian!
That is not the problem. I see. Well, that's good to know. I couldn't decide if that was helpful or not. I had a sort of human-y smell, but sort of not human-y too. And apparently Elliot thought of me, and everyone else, in terms of food. Well then.
So I was thinking, Allie's probably back by now. Wanna head back to the club room?
Oh sure, I'll just return the book.
I'll do it. I mean, I don't mind doing it for you.
He stood quickly and grabbed the book before I could protest, returning it back to the front desk. He returned seconds later and walked with me back to the door. He pulled it open and waited for me to go inside. Wow, so gallant. Allie was literally just walking in as we entered. Good timing! I was just coming back for you.
How'd it go?
It was fine. What about you guys?
Well, we just talked.
I see. Learn anything interesting? A few things, I think. We stood there silently for a minute. Elliot finally cleared his throat awkwardly and edged to the door.
I guess I should, be going to class. I'll see you later, Nora.
Yeah, see you.
Okay. Well, bye then.
Hey, thanks for staying with me. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. And remember, you can text me if you need anything. Anytime, okay?
I'll remember that. He grinned and hurried out of the room and down the hall with the biggest blush on his cheeks. Allie sprawled out on the sofa as if she was exhausted. Okay, are we... No, we're not back yet. So we found your bridge, creep. Ugh. What was it? A Spriggan. I don't think it meant any harm, but it's been gently relocated to a less populated area. Okay, no. I just wanted to make... Sometimes it's like a couple lines before it lets you skip, but not the case. You know, it said, "You're back to me." How did it know I was back? I mean, it was acting like it knew me. Allie shook her head and shrugged. Wild Fae say a lot of strange things. I wouldn't put too much stock in anything it said, but... But? Wild Fae don't show themselves to just anyone. Even I can't see them if they want to hide. The fact that you could see it... Good grief, Allie, it cannot possibly get any weirder than it already has, so just say it. I think you should start researching more deeply into the Fae. The fact you could see the Spriggan so easily could mean that's where your heritage lies. The agency guys agreed. Well, at this point that's no weirder than finding out I'm a vampire and I've secretly been sneaking out for years to eat my neighbors. Or finding out you're a witch. Or anything else magical, mystical, and or weird. No doubt. So now what? Well, you can hide in the club and read all day, but I also got permission to take you home early. On what grounds? On the grounds that you have a very, very bad migraine. That isn't actually a lie. My head really does feel ready to explode. It gets easier. I promise it does. I hope so. Want me to take you home? Actually, yeah, that would be great. By the way... She stood and went to pick up something by the door. My bag! We found it hanging at the bottom of the bridge. I took it from her and checked inside. Everything seemed to be there. Maybe Brenna left it there after I, ran off screaming. Well, at least we were able to recover it. Okay. Nope. Allie led the way out to the hall while I fumbled around trying to text my idiot brother. Going home. Bad headache. Have permission. I doubted he'd respond. He never did. During the walk to the car, I did my best to look ill in case anyone stopped us. It wasn't completely an act. Now that the adrenaline was gone and I didn't have a weird conversation to distract me, I actually was feeling a bit woozy. Allie didn't really know much about the Fae in general, so on the way home we mostly talked about the other club members. Well, she didn't go into all the details. Just the basics. Elliot and Mark were both vampires. Elliot was infected a few years ago, but Mark was born that way. Danny was a werewolf, also infected a few years ago. Ewan was Fae, a Dullahan, basically a headless rider, hence the head coming off. William was an Esper, which was essentially a human with psychic powers. Brenna was also some type of Fae. Velos, Allie, and Corvin were all in the wizard category. There were several other members too, some from pretty much every category. A lot of them never showed up or participated. And like she'd said before, there were other staff members who were cryptics as well, including the school principal. It was just so... weird. After Allie dropped me at home, I went straight to my room and crashed. I really, really hoped strange encounters like that morning weren't going to become the norm. But I was definitely going to be avoiding the bridge for a while. I didn't think I could stand another major incident. Not anytime soon, anyway. And given what Allie had hinted at regarding the upcoming holiday, it seemed like it would be best to lay low for a while.